This week on Video Game Tango, The Witcher 3 is getting a current gen update and it's happening a lot sooner than we thought. Nick also shows us V Rising, Jack Move, My Time at Sandrock, and the Pokemon knockoff with guns and slave labor, PALWORLD. We also talk about the most played games of 2022, EA struggling to sell itself to anyone, Take-Two merging with Zynga, Stalker 2 being back in development, and Sony planning on bringing a lot more games to PC and mobile.
Nick here, and although we do not fight crime in the future time, we will tell you about indie games so fine they cost barely a handful of dimes.
Hi, I'm Josh, and I will purchase EA for a crisp high five and a smile.
That's Shia LaBeouf. I'm Andy.
What the fuck?
Welcome to Video Game Tango.
He's gonna sue us. He's gonna sue us.
He's exhausted. He's just lurching around.
Oh my god.
I'm sorry, I broke out that one. That was what a cut.
We're back.
We're back.
We've got more news.
Back again.
Shady's back with The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt. It's getting a new current gen upgrade.
Okay, cool.
So what?
Hunter hunted.
No, I wish, dude. If only. I'm not repping the Sierra shirt today, but I wish.
Taking me back.
Hunter hunted would be awesome. So no, this is The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt. We're getting an next gen update, which, you know, it's kind of the second graphics quality update that it's getting. One of the biggest issues that people had with this is earlier this year, it was announced that work on the Witcher 3 update was going to be held back indefinitely. Now, this, of course, if you want to make headlines, means infinitely, not indefinitely, and means that it's never coming out. So the earliest speculation by the news cycle said that it was that we could expect a June or July 2023 release. Well, CD Projekt Red has come back and said, no, not quite. So back in April, CD Projekt Red announced that it had taken the development of the new gen update for The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt in-house, and that as a result of the shift, the update had been essentially indefinitely delayed. Following reports that the delay was in development hell, CDPR put out a notice that this was not the case, and now we know that the next gen update will be released sometime in the final 3 months of this year. So we're talking Q4 2022. Okay. So direct tweet from @WitcherGame says, "Let's make this 7th anniversary even better, shall we? We're delighted to share that the next gen version of The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt is planned to release in Q4 2022. See you on the path, Witchers."
It's pretty dope.
Yeah, so it looks like we're getting some more Witcher this year.
I'm kind of excited for that. A good graphics update might just be the kick in the pants I need to play that game.
That's kind of how I'm feeling about it too.
Are people going to have to rebuy it?
I'm sure they will. Yeah, I'm sure they will. There's no announcement as to what it's going to cost or what platforms it's going to be on. I assume it's going to be on the latest gen consoles. We've seen it, you know, on multiple Xbox series and multiple PlayStation series.
Yeah, but it's always like your.
It's a port.
Yeah, it's a port, and you're
Yeah.
right. You're retro.
I mean,
I like the update idea, and
it's going to be a fresh coat of paint.
yeah, I like the fresh coat of paint idea. I feel like they're not going to shit the bed as hard as like Rockstar did.
Yeah.
With theirs. So I'm.
And that's one of the reasons they moved it in-house initially, is because there was a third-party company working on the update for Witcher 3. They decided they didn't like what they were seeing and decided to develop it in-house instead. Okay. So they scrapped plans for the initial update and took it upon themselves to make it as faithful as possible to the original, which I think is good. I mean, use the developers that made the original game to bring it back to life in the next generation of console. I think this is, for me, I don't mind purchasing this game because I never purchased it in the first place. I got it for free on Steam when it was on like a free weekend. So for me,
real quick, help me remember. Witcher 3 The Wild Hunt, is that just The Witcher 3?
that's just The Witcher 3. Yeah.
Okay, Wild Hunt's not like a DLC thing.
It's just the subtitle.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So for me, it gets me a little excited. Hopefully it comes to PC, hopefully simultaneous release.
That'd be great.
Yeah, because that's where I wish to play it the most. The Witcher 3 for me, I always started because it's one of those games where I feel like I should like it. I know people that I agree with in taste of video games likes it.
Yep.
I know it's critically acclaimed.
Yep.
Pretty much everybody that plays it seems to like it. I can't get past the first
Same.
20 to 40 minutes of the game.
Tried like
Yeah.
2 or 3 different times.
Yeah, me
And
too.
It never caught fire, you know?
Before we lose momentum, I do want to bring something up, and then I want to talk about my experience with Witcher 3.
Yeah.
As of 4 days ago, CD Projekt Red has announced that they are working on a new Witcher game.
Yes.
They are adamant that this is not The Witcher 4, because with Andrzej Sapkowski, they agreed to a trilogy of games. So it's looking like not only are we getting a new Witcher game, at least in that universe, they're switching over from their Red Engine video game engine to Unreal 5. And it will not be exclusive to the Epic Games Store.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Upcoming Cyberpunk 2077 expansions are still going to be using their Red engine. And also, they fucking shit the bed with Cyberpunk. So, like, I don't know how to feel about a new Witcher game.
Honestly,
but it is important to note that, like, we do know another Witcher game, at least in the world of The Witcher, is coming out. No time frame, no release date, just they're announcing that the game is being made.
Yeah, we actually talked about that previously because the game's initial art released. We showed the photo of the lynx instead of the wolf, and talked about it being on Unreal Engine 5. Yeah, so that's actually something. Yeah, that's
this was from 4 days ago. So
there have been updates on it, but they weren't substantial. Okay. Other than it's officially announced now.
I'm gonna say, Cyberpunk. I'm having a lot of fun playing it. So any expansions or DLC for that seems fun to me, and like a good idea. So if you haven't picked, sure, it had problems at its launch, but I feel like they were kind of backed into a corner on that launch, and it's not.
Well, it backed into a corner I don't think is the right expression, because they could have, here's the thing. They knew they were announcing the game too early. They announced the game way before it was in alpha testing stage. I mean, it was a concept at the time of announcement, and
mistakes were made.
Mistakes were
on
made
both
in
sides. Sure.
Mistakes were made on one side.
Slow down, fence sitter.
Yeah.
Okay, so the basic promise is they way overpromised too early and they way underdelivered.
Yep.
At the end of the day, you can't blame individual programmers or marketing team for this, that, the other. What you can blame is the company as a whole.
Yeah.
They have fallen into the trap that a lot of companies have, where they get way too quick on the gun, announce their game, blow up the media with it, and they're not ready to release their game.
Is any of that
That
the
is
game developer's fault, or is that
as
the
company
money
as a
side
whole?
of it?
Because this kind of stuff happens to developers all the time. They get excited, they get brash and brazen, and then they announce their shit too early, and the game comes out and it's not ready. And we know this happens, so they don't have an excuse, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
Like, the game you're playing that you enjoy is not at all what they promised the game was going to be like. I want you to think of a game that's a whole nother a level above what you're experiencing, enjoying now, is what they threw at us, and we didn't get any of it. We got the opposite.
Not just that, but they threw out what was effectively an alpha test, claiming that it was a finished game.
Yeah, because they had to, and at the end of the day, it's not any
That's kinda what I was
individual
talking about. It's
team's fault or programmers, but the company as a whole does deserve blame for it, because this kind of stuff happens. And if you had experienced veteran people on your team, they should have known better, and you chose to do it anyways.
I was leaning a little more blame on the shareholders. Side of the
Sure, I don't know who pushed the game earlier. This, that, the other thing. I just know that this stuff happens, and it has been happening for decades, and it's not a new problem, and they fell for it.
Now, the only excuse that can be made for CD Projekt Red is one thing that they couldn't have foreseen was COVID. And that was a lot of the reason that development got pushed back the way it did, is that now we have to restructure. You take a work environment in which everybody's comfortable working. They're making games regularly. They pay a lot of attention to detail. But when you have to move everybody out of that environment where everything is going to be essentially new space, and you start a work from home environment, then things are definitely going to slow down, so they couldn't have foreseen that. But what they could have done, and the responsible thing could have done, was
to delay
development, which they did a couple times. But what they did with the Witcher update is something they could have done with Cyberpunk 2077.
What did they do with the Witcher update?
delayed indefinitely.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And that's the thing is that costs a lot of money. A lot of
Does.
people would not have been happy with that, and they probably wouldn't have let it happen.
And they did have pressure from investors. I can't remember the company or the country that they're in. It's like Finland, I think.
Poland.
The Polish government invested in Cyberpunk because of the hype. There was a lot of pressure, for sure. Especially riding on the coattails of The Witcher 3, which was their first breakout hit. Yeah. I can understand being really, really excited to get the next property out, especially when it's as ambitious as they claimed initially, right? I get it, especially hyping up the crowd. I mean, it was the game's audience before its release that really pushed them to deliver too early. Yeah. That said, that it might not have made shareholders happy, but the responsible thing would have been to delay it further.
I agree. It should have been delayed further.
Anyways,
sorry.
No, it's all good. Let's keep this moving.
Yeah.
I played Witcher 3 till like level 8 or 9, which I think was 10, 15 hours of gameplay. And it felt like the game. I played a lot of games, and when it came to the crunch of the game, you have like the in combat crunch, and then you have everything directly revolving around combat, the leveling up your gear and the making of your items and prepping for combat. And on top of that, you have the meta level stuff of like what level enemies you're fighting and their layout and their fighting styles. And like so much of the game was really, really good. But like a good example is I came across like a bear and I'm like level 8 or 9. I was like level 30. And fighting style wise, I mastered it. Like I was fighting it and it couldn't hurt me because it didn't take long to learn its moveset. But it was just a hit point sponge because it had 22 levels over me. So I spent 20 minutes killing it. And then in its cave, I found some loot, and one piece was like a gear I could use. Another was a recipe for a gear that was like level 40. And like already 15, 20 hours into the game, I'm level 8 or 9. Why are you dropping a level 40 crafting recipe in the first zone of the game?
Sure.
Like it's that kind of stuff that like it started piling up. And like I liked where the stories were going and the quests, but it just felt clunky. It felt like amateur kind of game design. Like these are problems that you should have worked out in your first 2 Witchers, which having played Witcher 2 and 1, those were clunky games.
Yeah.
Right. And you got over it because the story was good, the narrative was good, and like the gameplay, the combat was fun. But I really didn't feel like they learned as much as they kind of were trying to show when it came to a lot of the meat of the game. But, personal experience. You said you guys bounced off it. I really tried to like it, and I've played it a few times. But, yeah, I never got past the first area just because it couldn't keep me going. As
I understand, it's the story that grabs you.
Yeah. And the story was good. It just... Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, so from Witcher to... I guess we already talked about the other Techland. There's like 3 big Polish gaming companies I know. People Can Fly, Techland, and CDPR. I think I already talked about last week. Techland's their new announcement of their game had like 1 teaser trailer art. It was like a Mayan-looking thing. Did I mention that?
I don't think so.
It was just an announcement of a game. It's not newsworthy, but yeah. From there, where do we want to go?
We want to go to you.
To me, okay. I got a handful of little articles, but more importantly, just Nick's corner of indie games that I'm excited about. All my streamers, all my YouTube indie game channels have been getting into V Rising. V as in the letter, as in the vampire. Think a kind of Diablo 3 camera angle, but Valheim style play, but you're a vampire. Build your own Castlevania, I saw in one Steam review. It is a survival action RPG that is full multiplayer with both PvE co-op with your friends and PvP against other vampires. You start off weak, having come out of your coffin, and you slowly gather materials like you would in a survival thing. One neat thing, as a vampire, you can't be out during the day because sun.
Yeah,
so you got to do your stuff at night.
Vampires.
And there's, all these crafting systems and leveling systems, and I'm sure skills and classes and features and whatnot. I've seen about the first hour of gameplay from 3 different YouTubers, and the biggest benefit the reviews are saying is it's surprisingly polished for the state that it's in. It's currently sitting at a very positive review at 15,000 reviews. It just hit, I think, 1 million copies sold in like the first 3 or 4 days. Check it out on Steam. It is in early access, which, buyer beware, do your due diligence. It is $20, but by the reviews, it sounds like it has enough content and enough polish now to be worth that $20. Plus, I love survival games. I love crafting games. I love me some vampires. This looks like something we could all play, not only as a group here together, us casters, but maybe with the audience too, if you guys want to pick the game up.
100%. I don't know how the server style works or anything like that.
The only thing I know is a character is attached to a given server.
Yeah.
You have to make a new character if you go to a new server. We have not been paid to give a review of any of the games I'm talking about. We will talk about maybe picking it all up, and if we like enough to keep playing it, maybe that's something we could all play together.
Yeah.
Next up is a little heartfelt favorite of mine. I've been following this guy a little bit on the indie game subreddit. Guy has made a game called Jack Move Icebreaker, I.C.E. It is storyline-wise kind of a traditional JRPG. It is cyberpunk. It has amazingly gorgeous pixel art, and it seems to play, I wouldn't quite say, not necessarily Mega Man Battle Network, because it's not, but it looks like a very well put together little JRPG. It's very heavy into the cyberpunk aspect, and I'm in love with the art, and it's a little passion project by this guy, and I'm looking forward to trying it out. I'm getting a bit old for JRPGs, so I can't vouch for the storyline because, again, I haven't played it yet. But just from the combat and the options it looks like you have, it looks like a nice little traditional JRPG done by a loving programmer.
And that's what I was going to say is this looks like a labor of love.
I believe it's Hypertrain Digital franchise, but that might be the publisher. Yeah, that's the publisher. I will have to look up. The dev is, I have it right here. So Romantic is the name of the company. So give that a check out.
This is the first time I'm seeing it, and just what we're watching on stream now looks excellent. It looks like a lot of fun.
Yeah. I bounced off of, I didn't even bounce. I couldn't pull the trigger on My Time at Porsche, which was kind of like a modern day Harvest Moon, Stardew Valley type of game. Little cute slice of life simulator. However, a sequel or spiritual successor has come out called My Time at Sandrock, which, having watched the trailer and read a little bit of reviews, it seems like this is kind of the next iteration of My Time at Porsche. Fix some things. If you are into cozy little settlement builders, it looks better. I might actually pull the trigger and try this one out. It came out just a few days ago, also early access, $25. It's right on that cusp of like, maybe. But again, if Stardew Valley, Harvest Moon, Animal Crossing is your type of thing, this is definitely going to scratch that itch if you're tired of looking for gyroids, which I don't even know if there are any in the new one. I know you get tarantulas, but
my only qualm with this title is that I was told My Time at Porsche was going to be a better Harvest Moon. And I was told by multiple people that it was a better Harvest Moon. And yes, sure, graphically speaking, I suppose, if you're into a more 3D aesthetic rather than a top-down 2D. But bullshit. The gameplay was not there.
People had even played Harvest Moon. Who knows?
I don't know. I don't know. The best Harvest Moon is Stardew Valley. So, for me personally, I'm just, don't tell me that it's a better game when it's clearly not. It just wasn't.
Yeah.
It didn't have the polish. It didn't have the love that was clearly put into Stardew Valley. I have to agree. Not only that, but the focus is not on, farming and working with the townspeople.
There's a whole bunch of different little subsystems.
Whole ton of stuff.
Porsche.
It's a big game, and I have to give it credit because it is a big game. a lot to do, but I just didn't care for it as much as something like a Stardew Valley.
It was
a more
probably
classic
5 or
experience.
6 times over each period of months where I'd go read the Steam reviews, and they just go back and forth, and it's like it seems like it's one of those games that some people are just going to love.
Absolutely,
like Marvel movies. They're a good example. Some people are just going to love them no matter what those Marvel movies do, despite their faults. And hopefully Sandrock is better. Finally, for hilarity, I know very little about this game other than having seen the trailers. Is PALWORLD. On the surface, it is a Pokemon clone, gameplay style in the way of Breath of the Wild. However, as we'll see here on stream, halfway through the trailer, the main character pulls out an AK-47. And shortly thereafter, it shows a bunch of the PALWORLD Pokemon performing slave labor. I don't know what the theme of this game is, who the audience is for, but it goes from super cartoony and childlike to like showing them doing forced labor in mines and shooting people with guns. And the graphics are great. Like it looks like Arceus Pokemon. They put a lot of effort into it.
They even have people riding a giant whale in this trailer.
Yeah, this Pokemon's got a chain gun.
Yep.
Like
mowing down the other.
This Totoro has a chain gun.
Got a fucking.
This is a Pokemon
look at
prequel.
These Pokemon are captured in
my
some
God.
kind of facility.
Oh my God!
They've got
he's
little
crying.
Leafeons creating guns on a factory floor. Lapras just ate a Wiglet, and that Pokemon got C4.
Oh my God!
Yeah, do yourself a favor.
That's a cloaca cannon.
Even if you're not going to play it,
The cloaca
look up
cannon.
the PALWORLD trailer.
Did you see the
and
Clissy
just
cannon?
I sure did.
Yeah, just watch the trailer. Do yourself a favor. I have no idea how good the game's going to be. Again, I've just seen the trailers, but I needed to show that to someone because I was
Definitely an
laughing my ass
interesting
off.
take.
I don't even know what it's coming out on. I needed to share that.
Like, get it, go for it,
Yeah.
enjoy.
Andy, you got something next, or should I keep ranting?
Josh has something next.
Oh, I do have something next.
What you got?
I got something next. So, what do you guys think some of the most played games of 2022 so far are? What would you say? Just go.
I'm gonna guess Minecraft. Probably
Whatever
NBA
Zynga
2K22, Madden 2K22. But I don't know. Enlighten us.
Super Battle Auto Pets.
So while Elden Ring may be the juggernaut of sales so far in Q1, it has only climbed to 20th on the most played list. Over half of the top 10 most played games in Q1 of 2022 weren't even launched this decade.
We're only 2 years into it. But
sure. We're only 2 years into it. But still. This is a release of the top 10 by their initial release of most played games this year. So we have Minecraft, which of course released in 2009. We have Grand Theft Auto 5, 2013. The Sims 4, 2014.
Okay.
Yeah, right. So we're starting to climb up there. Fortnite,
Interesting.
2017.
Fortnite makes sense.
Among Us, very popular, 2018.
Okay.
Animal Crossing, New Horizons, starting to get some new shit, 2020. And then Madden NFL, Call of Duty, of course, Warzone. The newest game, I believe, is NBA 2K22. Is the newest game that made it into the top 10. Now, Elden Ring was 20th, but it's only been out for a month by these measurements here. So it still has time to climb.
Sure.
But other notable folks in the top 20 above Elden Ring, the juggernaut of sales, was of course Rocket League, Skyrim, WoW.
Yeah.
And WoW. Honorable mention.
Sims 4 really throws me. That was the last thing.
That's the one I found also. I was like, really? Okay, fair enough.
Dude, The Sims is just its own. It's its own
got
thing.
its own community, for sure.
100%.
Yeah.
The people that play The Sims nearly exclusively. Now,
Yeah, it's an 8-year-old game.
yeah. So I work in a place that repairs computers.
And every single one has the Sims 4.
Dude, it is ridiculous. So if there are any games on the desktop, it's almost always The Sims.
Yeah. That's crazy.
It is, and it'll be the only game that's installed. And I'll talk to these clients, and they'll say things like, The Sims isn't running the way it should be. I'm having problems with The Sims, and this is a more than weekly occurrence. This is several times a week.
Is there like a massive modding community keeping this going?
I think the main thing is that while the game may have kind of pushed hardware at the time, like if you had a lower spec PC, it was going to be hard to run at the time. Mm-hmm. But a low spec PC for today absolutely runs the shit out of Sims 4.
Okay.
Yeah,
and I think it's just the accessibility, because I don't think these people are I don't think most of them are whales. I don't think they're all buying the
DLC
for the $15 to $60 DLC that's coming out weekly, monthly. I don't think they're doing that. What I think it is they're playing the base game because that's what they have access to.
They're just trapping their sim husband in a room with no windows, doors, or air and watching them die.
Yeah.
I mean, if you go to ModDB, the most downloaded mod for Sims 4 has 130,000 downloads, and the next 4 have over 80,000.
Yeah.
So
all right.
That's a good amount of downloads for a mod.
Yeah, especially considering most people aren't going to ever try, attempt to mod their game.
The third most downloaded mod is to remove the censor bar during
Of course it is. I mean, okay, when you played The Sims 1, what's the first thing you looked up was how to remove the censor bar.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, and back then, it was just a little cheat.
Mm-hmm.
It's gotten a little bit harder now.
Interesting.
You gotta have a whole mod now.
You do have to have a whole
pregnancy enhancements. Oh, okay. I see why people play in Sims 4 because they're all fucking degenerates.
Well, it takes one to know one, motherfucker.
It's
Dude,
kind of neat that
no flex.
neat or whatever, or another word for interesting but disappointing. Call of Duty has two entries on the top 10 of most played so far.
There's Warzone and what else?
Vanguard, actually.
Wow, that's kind of surprising.
I was surprised that Vanguard made it on there. Warzone, sure, it's free. You get some. That's
Call of Duty Vanguard was pretty poorly received by the Call of Duty community. So it's funny. I mean, we are now. Was the list tracking by playtime, or how are they tracking?
I think
most played?
It's so this particular release list was released by initial release date, not time played. So I actually don't know where it rests in the top 10. I just know that it is in the top 10.
Okay.
Do you think that so many people played it for so short a time that it managed to bump it?
I mean, it's possible.
I'm sure that they see 90% of their profit from copy sales in the first week of a Call of Duty, assuming it's not a free to play game.
There's also the fact that a lot of Call of Duty players, it doesn't really matter. They're going to buy the new Call of Duty, right?
Yeah.
Because it's the game they want to play, and it's new content for the game that they want to play. Most of your typical COD players, there are people that own consoles just to play Call of Duty, right? It's the game that they play. So, I guess I can see it. I'm a little bit surprised to see it in games that have more content, games that get quicker update release schedules and stuff like that. So,
I keep seeing this tagline for Vanguard: the best WW2 FPS game. Fuck you, Activision.
Now, this is only measuring Q1, of course. So there is plenty of time for titles to drop and rise on this list. So, I mean, I'd be...
We'll see. I mean, as far as AAA titles goes, the year is looking like it's going to be kind of sparse.
It's a little slim.
That's good, though. Dude, I am... So, we look at Xbox, right? And Xbox announced that... that Starfield and Redfall, I think, is the other title that they're putting out, is going to be delayed until next year, right? Leaving almost no major AAA titles other than your yearly releases coming out on the Series X. And I'm really excited about that because hopefully what that does is get people interested in fewer AAA games and more into the indie community. That's my hope. I don't know that, maybe people will just continue to play Call of Duty Vanguard until, the next big release, right? But my hopes are that what I want you to do, bring back Xbox Live Arcade in its original format. That was such a boon to the Xbox. And what really made the Xbox 360, you could buy the Xbox 360 without purchasing any games, and just the amount of titles that were available early on the in the Xbox 360's release cycle, like Geometry Wars. Geometry Wars was fucking huge because you could get the demo for free and you could buy the game for cheap.
Yeah.
And I really do think that that arcade was one of the major selling points of that console's generation, and why the Xbox 360 did so well compared to the PlayStation 3 at that time, regardless of cost. I mean, the PlayStation 3 released really expensive, but the Xbox 360 owned that console cycle, and I think in large part to do with Xbox Arcade.
Yeah. I mean, I could talk about. I'm reading back and forth. We're talking about PlayStation Online and whatnot. I can't tell at this exact moment if they retracted this or not, but for a moment, people who had a discount on the new PlayStation Plus service, if they had bought like a year in advance, or if the retailer they bought a card from had a discount on it, somebody wrote into their customer service asking about it, and the customer service replied that any discount they got would have to be paid back.
Yes.
For the new service. I'm from what I read just recently, I think they've countermanded that, and they said that was an error, but I haven't confirmed that yet. And
I haven't confirmed that yet either.
Like, if someone has saved $20 from a deal from a third party like company selling a card to buy some PlayStation Online time, and you're telling them you got to pay that money back, what the fuck are you doing? That is not how you start a new, brand new exclusive PlayStation service.
That is not how you hook customers on a subscription service.
These people probably are only able to be on this because of that discount. You know, quite a few of them, especially if they're paying for a year in advance to save, I don't know what, 20%, 10%. You're going to make them pay that back. At the very least, by next week, we'll have confirmation on that.
You see,
but
you got to follow the Game Pass. Follow the Game Pass model.
Yeah.
Severely over deliver in the beginning, and then run out of titles within
that's
a
how
year.
You make your money. It'll work.
Because people are en masse dropping their Xbox Game Pass subscriptions. Even though it's an inexpensive way to play a lot of games, a lot of people have gone through the titles that they wanted to play, and because we're looking at kind of a gaming drought in the upcoming future, people are just dropping their subscriptions and waiting for things like Starfield to come out.
Honestly, I would rethink that. Play some other titles. Like you have the Game Pass, right? So before you drop it, be like, you know what? That maybe title.
Well,
that Watch Dogs, right? Maybe you're not sure about Watch Dogs.
Here's the problem, though.
Something like that, you know?
A lot of the problem is that Xbox Game Pass put up a lot of big titles. A lot of the couple-year-old AAA titles were going to be free on Xbox Game Pass, right? A lot of people have played those games because they were AAA titles. Yeah. So a lot of people, I mean, myself included, I've got a whole bunch of those games already purchased, already played. So why would I play them again on Game Pass? You know what I mean?
Fair enough.
So it really depends on what your game library already looks like. It depends on what you're looking for, as far as video games that you're into. I do agree with you at some point is like, try the other titles that are on there. There are a few really killer titles. There's that survival game where you play as kids that I can't remember what it's called. It's like a Honey, I Shrunk Your Kids style game.
Grounded.
Yes, thank you.
Bugs.
Yeah, still a work in progress, but is available on Xbox Game Pass. Check that out. There's a lot of content to be had there if you're into survival games. It doesn't have to be just the major AAA titles. There are a lot of good indie developers that are developing via the ID at Xbox line of games that are putting out games that are going directly to Game Pass. So, I'm not saying keep your subscription, play games that you aren't into, but maybe while your subscription is still active, is check out some of the smaller indie games, because that's kind of where you're going to get them right now. It's the best thing we have in terms of indie games for subscription service, like what we had with Xbox Live Arcade.
Think about it this way. You get off work, you're exhausted, you're ready to go home, you make yourself some food, and you're going to jump on Apex or Call of Duty or whatever, and you're like, man, yeah, I'm going to get on. I'm just going to play a couple games. It'll be fine. No, you're going to play 6 games in a row, and you're going to do okay your first game, and then you're going to get shit on for 3 games in a row, and you're like, I can't leave the evening on a bad game, and you just proceed to get trounced, and by the end of the night, you're fucking angry and tired. Instead, try these new indie games.
It's just one night. While I play Apex?
I know mediocre FPS players. Okay, takes one to know one. Like, do yourself a favor and just try the games out,
or take more Ritalin, because that's what I hear wins Apex.
Or Riddle out, like either one, whichever way you want to go.
I don't know. I want that Game Pass model to be a successful model. So like, I mean, it's a corporation, so if they start losing money on it or it doesn't start making money on it, they'll just drop it and be like, okay, well, I guess we'll do NFTs or fucking microtransactions.
Probably not NFTs.
Or some bullshit.
I don't know. Everybody's trying them. They don't seem to be with the picture. Take-Two and Zynga have merged.
Yeah.
$12.7 billion.
That doesn't seem like it's enough.
Well, I mean, it's because we keep thinking about the $70 billion Microsoft Activision merger, but
which is an overvaluation.
Over an evaluation, but like Zynga and this is like both sides of a coin that has been in a pigsty. Like, no offense, but like, get ready for your GTA Mobile with the Battle Pass, so you can get different colored Miami T-shirts for $5 a piece. No, that's the cynic in me. But yeah, they merged last Thursday, something like that.
It was late last week after last week's podcast. Yeah,
Zynga's known for all their mobile games. Take-Two's got BioShock. They got Borderlands, Civilization, all the wrestling games, NBA 2K, Rockstar. Like, it's a big merger, people, and they're going to find even new, innovative ways to take money out of your wallet because you're all stupid and keep giving them your money.
It's interesting that you bring up acquisitions, because I'd like to talk about EA.
Yeah.
EA is trying as hard as they can right now to be acquired.
Yeah.
EA is it's under the struggle bus. So they're in works pitching themselves to Disney and Amazon, really hoping to be picked up there.
Would you fuck me? I'd fuck me.
That's kind of the situation. Now, the interesting thing is EA just lost FIFA. So you have to expect their valuation, because FIFA, we talk about big titles every year, right?
Boy,
we talk about Elden Ring
release title, FIFA. Oh my
Dude,
God! So many people play that game.
I don't know this for sure. This is speculation, but I would bet my life savings. It's almost nothing. I would bet my life savings that FIFA made more money last year or this year in DLC than Elden Ring sold in copies.
I would not be surprised in the least.
That's not even a surprising take. That's just
plus they have fucking loot boxes.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and that's what I'm talking about. I'm not talking game sales. I'm talking about
shit.
Yeah.
Which Blizzard's getting sued for, by the way, again. But
yeah, of
that's
course.
Another story.
Well, I mean, it's inevitable as far as putting out games that have card packs, loot boxes, loot cans, superpower.
Blizzard got away with it in fucking, was it Overwatch, their first lawsuit?
They kind of got away with it. They did have to restructure.
They pushed into arbitration or something, but now some kid and his parents are suing over Hearthstone packs. Because apparently, like in California, if you're a minor, like you have the legal right to like get your money back for stuff.
Yeah.
And this kid had blown like $300, $400, $500. And so they're trying to make a class action lawsuit to allow all children to be able to get refunds on their loot box openings. And
it's interesting because personally, I wouldn't assume that the average age range skews young for Hearthstone. I would assume
to play mobile game, dude.
Sure, but I would assume that they're more likely to be playing the more popular games like Fortnite, Apex, PUBG Mobile, rather than Hearthstone, especially since Hearthstone is based on World of Warcraft. I think it. Yeah.
I don't know what the demographic is.
I don't know what it is, but I would assume that it skews older, like mid to late 20s on average. But that's just a guess for me. So it's interesting that that I'm not surprised that kids play it. I wouldn't be surprised that if Blizzard were to lose that lawsuit, that they'd lose a ton of money.
Well, what they did say immediately was that the losses would be over $5 million, which gives them right to push it out of the California legal department into like a higher state or into the federal stuff.
About.
Yeah. I don't know how much that potentially would be worth, but they said it was over $5 million, and of course they're trying to get the court changed so they can,
of course,
get away with
Honestly, they almost don't have to worry about it even in California, but
yeah.
And honestly, it's $5 million.
Yeah.
So
and even if they lost, they'd be like, okay, here's $5. Okay, there you go.
they sell more than $5 million worth of mounts every month in World of Warcraft.
In comparison, when Zynga and Take-Two merged, that was 12,700 million.
I'll tell you,
$5 million is.
I'll tell you how much $5 million means to them. They're willing to spend $10 million so that they don't have to pay
Exactly.
it. That's how $5 million. That's how much it means.
Absolutely.
To them.
It's the principle.
Yeah.
I'm the principal.
Fucking interest. Other than that, good news. Stalker 2 devs have confirmed the development is back on.
Yes, sir.
I am so excited. I don't really have very, very specific news other than they survived Ukraine and they are going back at it. This was answered in a Discord channel, temporarily on hold due to war, which is a good reason to delay development of a game. Work is in progress. We're not revealing our content. NDA. But hey, it's happening. That's good. It's been delayed, obviously, probably not anytime soon. It's currently slated for launch on December 8th for PC and Xbox Series X. This Xbox, we'll see if they hit that. I wouldn't blame them if they don't.
Yeah.
I mean,
I don't believe in their release dates. I'm waiting.
Especially.
Right. Yeah.
But yeah, it's just good to know that work is progressing. I cannot wait to go back to evil Pripyat and fight weird alien monsters and die.
Also, the new Arma.
Arma 4, they have a console. I was going to talk about that last week, and I decided not to because we were running low on time. Do we have time to talk about the new Arma 4 game?
Yeah.
oh, dope.
Let's see. Arma Reforger, early access. Confirmed. First off, it's going to be coming to console, which is nuts. Like, that's really, really good. They're going to get a lot more exposure because it was quite a niche PC game.
Yeah.
Full military sim. But more importantly, I think they're using this, if I remember right, this is a shitty article. They're showing off a new engine.
They are.
The showcase trailer. Yeah, I haven't watched a video of the new engine. But yeah, I don't know what they mean by a preview game. It has 2 multiplayer modes and is multi-platform, a taste of what Arma 4 will be like. So I don't know how to feel about this.
I'm a little bit confused by all the articles that I've read. I wasn't initially going to bring it up, but it's exciting, one, because I play DayZ, and Bohemia makes both Arma and DayZ, and DayZ promises that, at least the devs that make DayZ promise that they're going to be using the new engine, at least to some effect. So getting some DayZ updates is always exciting for me.
Definitely. So besides the multiplayer modes they have, one thing that I've seen a lot in the articles is that, quote unquote, any user with a fair knowledge of C scripting, C# scripting, should be able to add custom AI behaviors, audio and visual assets, or even completely new gameplay mechanics to Arma Reforger. Artists too can import their creations using intuitive, streamlined workflows. So it's looking like Arma 4 is going to be built from the ground up to enable modding better than Arma 3 was.
Damn.
Which is good.
Which is, I mean,
every game needs more mods. Every single game that's ever been released.
The biggest thing to ever come out of Bohemia, DayZ, started as a mod.
Exactly.
Enable your modding community to make great games. I mean, Stalker.
Fucking, yeah. Like,
how many times have we talked tonight about like a labor of love, a project of passion, and that's exactly what the modding community does. It takes something that they fucking love, and they're like, how can we make this more? How can we add more to it, make it better, make it different? But like, I mean, that's enable modding, guys. Yep. Enable modding. I mean,
how else do you
throw those guys some fucking money every once in a while and let them do your fucking remaster?
Church.
Sorry, excuse me there.
It's okay, buddy.
Got a little.
It's all right. We love you anyways. I've got one last thing.
Okay.
The president of Sony's PlayStation business has said that the company expects half of its annual releases to be on PC and mobile by 2025.
Who does?
The president of Sony's Sony PlayStation's business.
Sony's going to be on PC and mobile.
Well, we've talked about their intentions to move more of Sony exclusives to PC. This is just more confirmation that that's really happening. They absolutely do intend
so less
on
PlayStation
porting
exclusives and more PlayStation as well as either mobile or PC.
Correct.
Yes. Gotcha.
Yeah. That I love that.
I do too. I do too.
They've shown already that they can do a good job porting, or at least the people that they hire to do their ports can do a great job. God of War, for how visually impressive that game is, plays extremely well on the PC,
like butter,
and on PCs that you would never expect it to. People are making showcases on YouTube and bragging about how like low spec their PC is and trying to get the graphic fidelity as high as possible out of it. And there are people that are using, like 8-year-old or eight generations back processors, 4 or 5 generations back graphics cards, and just tuning
I've got a Radeon 7000 in this bit.
Right. That's what the community is doing. They're trying as hard as they can to get the best graphics fidelity and the best frames per second out of this game from the most minimal hardware, and doing an excellent job. Like, it's created its own monster in that these people are just using like the oldest of hardware that they can get away with to create a totally playable experience and one that looks good. And that's how good this port has been. So if they continue to provide that quality of port to the PC, I am very, very excited, because if PC is missing one thing over the current console generations, it's oh my God, my brain just like collapsed.
Cheeto fingers.
It's optimization. Optimization on the PC has gone by the wayside now. We've seen huge leaps in the capability of hardware, but what people are forgetting is that not everybody goes into the most current gen hardware. And if you're locking people out just because they don't have the hardware to run it, you have fewer people that can buy your game.
Yeah.
So, maybe spend a little bit more time optimizing the game for slightly older hardware. Just go a couple generations back instead of making it as pretty as possible and forgetting that the core of the game is to have fun and not be impressed by visuals.
Yeah.
Right. Anthem is that's perfect.
It's a perfect fucking example.
At the time of Anthem's launch, getting that to look pretty and run well was a fucking feat.
Yeah.
Even on modern hardware.
And all 7 people who played it had trouble.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it would be really nice to see somebody big like PlayStation taking the time and attention and care that you usually only see from smaller development companies, and making sure that their games can be played on as many devices and platforms as possible. And God of War as a concept currently makes me is exciting as far as getting more ports on the PC.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Before we out of time, one thing that I did want to confirm before I talked about, Norman Reedus accidentally leaked the development of a new Strand type game, Death Stranding 2, is coming out. In response, Hideo Kojima on his Twitter posted a picture of him with a barbed wire baseball bat held over Norman Reedus.
Getting the Grant treatment.
They're good friends. I'm sure it's all in jest. But what that tells me is the development is happening.
Yes.
On Death Stranding 2.
Now, well, let's hold on, because there is a little leak saying that Kojima might be able to work on the next Silent Hill. And Norman Reedus
I need new pants.
Was supposed to have starred in the last Silent Hill that PT was supposed to be the prequel for. So if we are to see Norman Reedus and Hideo Kojima doing Silent Hill, that I am way more excited for. As cool as Death Stranding is, so Silent Hill.
Charlie, It's Always Sunny.
Goosebumps thinking about it.
Fucking
Got goosebumps.
What's his name? What was he saying? Charlie was seen with he's going crazy about
the mailroom.
The mailroom.
Oh yeah.
Where's Deborah?
Yeah. Deborah.
Yeah, I'm Papa Sylvia.
Yeah.
Pepe Sylvia.
Pepe Sylvia. Always coming up. Pepe Sylvia. That's Philadelphia.
I for one, I bated breath as far as Silent Hill going to Kojima. But dude, how fucking cool would that be to get like a super trippy Silent Hill by Kojima starring Norman Reedus?
I mean, at the end of the day, it's been so long. If they try to remake it with practically anybody else, they're going to shit the bed. Yeah. So the idea that he might be doing a remake.
I love it. Well, that, guys, I think it's about time. Do we have anything we want to wrap up with?
Yeah, T3 Arena had its official launch, Season 1, new free battle pass, new hero. I'm still in love with the game. I'm playing it every day. Check out T3 Arena. I've had more time to play Apex Mobile. It's fine. It's clunky. It takes I spent a lot of time setting up the controls to make them doable. That said, I've played maybe 12 matches and I haven't lost yet. I've gotten first place in every match. So I don't know what that says about potential.
You're fighting bots.
But I do. It's really easy to team up with randos. You can do it before a match. They are real players. And I don't know.
I can tell you what our viewer, Raiders7528 on YouTube said about it in our comment section. He says, it sucks. I deleted it.
Okay.
About Apex Mobile. So there is our first review. It's official, guys.
It sucks. I deleted it.
It sucks. I deleted it.
I want that tattoo. Yeah.
Well, thank you guys so much for listening. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure you check us on all of your regular podcast platforms. Check out the YouTube channel. For real. YouTube channel needs some love. Check us out on Twitch. We go live Wednesday nights, 8 o'clock Pacific, loosely. But around-ish, 8 o'clock Pacific.
Time is a weird.
We try really hard.
Time is a concept. So make sure to check us out on all those platforms. For you live viewers, we're going to be moving right onto the Balcony Time podcast. For everybody else listening, you can watch or listen to the Balcony Time podcast on Monday, but we'll be back with that. Everybody watching live, stick around. We're going to be coming back with the next podcast here in just a moment. For everybody else, thank you for listening and watching. Bye-bye for now.